You've been betrayed. Not by strangers, but by people you trusted. People you helped. People you would have defended without hesitation. And that is what changed you. Because betrayal does something pain alone cannot do. It forces you to see people without illusion. It teaches you that loyalty is rare, respect is conditional, and weakness invites pressure. But here is the part most men never understand: betrayal was not the end of you. It was the exposure of the version of you that was too soft to survive. And if you use it correctly, betrayal becomes the moment you stop being easy to hurt, and start becoming impossible to control. Most people treat betrayal like a tragedy. They sit in the emotion. They replay the memory. They ask why it happened. But powerful men study it differently. They ask one question: what did this reveal? Because every betrayal exposes something. It shows you who was pretending. It shows you where you were naive. It shows you what you ignored, because you wanted comfort more than truth. That's why betrayal feels so violent. It doesn't just hurt you, it destroys your fantasy. The fantasy that loyalty is guaranteed. The fantasy that effort is always appreciated. The fantasy that being good protects you. It doesn't. People protect what benefits them. People respect what they cannot replace. And people test what looks too forgiving. That lesson hurts, but once you learn it, you stop moving blindly. After betrayal, weak men do one of two things. They either collapse, or they become loudly bitter. They complain. They chase closure. They try to prove they were right. But none of that creates power. Pain without discipline becomes self-destruction. Anger without control becomes weakness on display. The real shift begins here. The moment you stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and start asking, "What kind of man would never allow this twice?" That question changes everything. Every humiliation contains instruction. Every rejection contains direction. Every betrayal contains data. Data about people. Data about yourself. Data about the standards you failed to enforce. You trusted too quickly, learn restraint. You ignored red flags, learn observation. You tolerated disrespect, learn boundaries. You needed validation, learn detachment. This is where pain becomes useful. Because once betrayal becomes a lesson, it loses the power to control you. Now it sharpens you. You watch more carefully. You speak more intentionally. You give access more slowly. You become harder to read, harder to use, harder to break. Here is the truth most people avoid. If someone can provoke you easily, they can predict you. If they can predict you, they can control you. And if they can control you, they own part of your mind. That is why emotional control is power. Not because you feel nothing, but because you decide what to feel, and when to act. Anyone can react. But the man who stays calm long enough to understand the situation becomes dangerous. He doesn't rush. He doesn't beg. He doesn't reveal everything. He observes. He waits. He adjusts. And while others are driven by impulse, he is driven by intention. Many men say they want respect. But what they really want is approval. And those are not the same thing. Approval comes from being liked. Respect comes from being solid. Respect comes from standards. From boundaries. From discipline. From the ability to walk away. The moment people sense desperation, your value drops. The moment they sense you fear losing them, they gain power over you. So the rebuild starts here. Stop over-explaining. Stop oversharing. Stop trying to be understood by people who don't respect you. Say less. Observe more. And let your actions speak. That is how presence is built. You don't become untouchable by acting tough. You become untouchable by becoming stable. A fortress is not built on anger. It is built on discipline. Wake up when you said you would. Train your body. Control your habits. Keep your word to yourself. Because every promise you break, weakens you. And every promise you keep, strengthens you. This is what separates men. One becomes more emotional, more reactive, more chaotic. The other becomes more disciplined, more aware, more selective. Same pain, different outcome. A man with a strong foundation cannot be easily shaken. If you want more respect, become harder to replace. Build your body. Build your mind. Build your skill. Build your discipline. Because people don't value what is always available. When your presence becomes rare, your value increases. When your standards are clear, the testing decreases. You don't need to dominate loudly. You simply become a man, whose absence has weight. Maybe they lied to you. Maybe they used you. Maybe they laughed when you were down. Let them. Because the strongest transformation is silent. You stop chasing. You stop explaining. You stop reaching for people who mishandled your loyalty. And instead, you build a stronger body, a clearer mind, a higher standard. That is the real revenge. Not becoming cruel, but becoming untouchable. So remember this. Betrayal is not proof that you are weak. It is proof that you were shown something real. Now the only question is, what will you do with it? Will you keep reliving the pain, or will you use it to rebuild yourself into something stronger? Because the truth is simple. They betrayed the old version of you. They do not get access to the next one. If this hit you deeply, comment, I rebuild in silence. And subscribe for more.